Hello and welcome to the Business Spotlight interview series. I'm your host Sonali Nigam, and today I'm joined by David Ohandjanian, founder at a hotel agency and Adao agency. Hi, David. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, it's a pleasure to be here.
Pleasure is all mine. Thank you so much for being here. So, would you like to kick us off with a brief background as to who you are and what you do?
Yes, so as you mentioned, I'm David Ohandjanian, and I'm well impressed that you pronounced that correctly. Not many people do. Well, basically, I started my work life as a designer specializing in web, went on to starting a smaller agency and then growing that agency over time, and then increased my skills to marketing. And now I guess I'm involved in a lot more of the sales, the strategy, and growing a team. So you're taking different skill sets through my work career into running successful agencies.
David, that will be quite interesting to know in detail in terms of how have you progressed. But as we were talking earlier before the interview, 15 years in the business. So, I mean, what do you attribute your growth to?
So I would say that the first thing really super key is the quality of work. So getting the results for our clients. So if we promise, we have to deliver on those. Without that foundation, then you can't run a successful service-based business. And it's also not being able to it's being able to hold yourself back and not being tempted to grow too fast. So a lot of business owners come under this decision of how quick to grow and when to grow. And really, you've got to think about that initial DNA. And again, going back to agencies, it's services and the staff, and that's people. So getting the real good people and holding yourself back until you do have those, until you have those processes, until you have those standards before you do grow, then that really helps the growth, because once you do grow, then it's sustainable. So being realistic with the bandwidth and doing a good job. That's what I would sort of summarize that succinctly as.
Wow, I mean, a great start to the podcast and some key learnings actually. So, talking about this, David, what do you say are the biggest learning as a owner of the business running successfully?
So I would say for running successfully, there's a few things I would say that it's not just more sales and revenue that make a business successful. And that's what most people think of. But actually, there's a few things that you can also fix along the way. So making sure that it's profitable, because you could be earning a lot of money, but a lot of it just being wasted. Being inefficient with operations, so improving that profitability, and also customer retention. So that's a huge part that a lot of people ignore, because if you're getting new customers in, but a lot are going back through the back door, then that's a difficulty for a lot of businesses too. So concentrating on multiple areas, including revenue, but it not being the be all and end all as a single solution. And I would
Interesting.
also say
Mhm,
that
mhm.
being a business owner, not thinking just because you've grown or you've got a successful business that your learning stops, because you have to change in your role across time. So you always have to train yourself, always have to learn and evolve and keep up with things. And that really helps as well.
Interesting. So, David, when you say you have to constantly learn, you have to constantly grow. So, there are a lot of business owners listening to you. So, what are some common misconceptions about running a business, and how do you address them?
Yeah, well, one of the ones that, if you're not a business owner, they come and say, well, you're the boss, you can do what you want.
Yeah.
But I think as a business owner, it's probably the opposite way around. We have hundreds of clients that all tend to be my bosses and be demanding things. So you do have to be careful with that and organize your time properly, because it can be stretched. But one phrase that you hear a lot in business is the customer is always right.
Yeah.
It's one of these common cliche phrases. But in our case, the client, of course, or customer is allowed to have an opinion, but what they're doing in this case is paying us for expertise. So it's a balance, isn't it? It's our job to educate them, to help them make the right decisions and give them the strategy for their business. If they already knew that, much like your guys' services as well, then they wouldn't come to you and they wouldn't need your assistance. So being bold and being strong, having that knowledge and being sharing. But again, where that kind of comes from is being able to share it in the right way, talking it through, treating the customer always with respect. And if you get that good relationship with a client and you're honest with them and open, then that, I would say, that misconception is quite common, that the customer is always right, because no, they're not always right. And that's why they need your advice. And I'm not always right with everything I need. That's why I need other people's advice. So it's a good way to be in business. And as long as you deliver that correctly, then you'll work out well.
Thank you, David, for answering that. And we need to make sure that this interview is full of learning. So, what challenges are you facing currently in your business, and how do you address them?
Right. So, as a smaller business owner with 20 people, I would say the key there is managing people. And I don't even know if that changes with bigger companies as well. It's
Right.
getting the right people in the right positions. And sometimes when you get the right people, something happens in their life and they move and you have to get someone else, or people have issues, people have their own life, right? So, being realistic, being fair, and getting the best out of people is common as a challenge for people in business. And I think it's something that you do kind of have to learn as a business owner as well. And I also feel that the team dynamic and the vibe of the people working together can really change how a business feels, especially when you're in an office and you've got an office environment or working together in teams. So really, managing that and making sure that that is right and the communication is good and the morale of the team is good really changes the face of the company, and also the customers can feel that too. So I would say that's a sort of challenge that we all have, and it's also, I think, probably in the times that we're in now, although COVID's over and hopefully a memory, and we still have some of um, the relics of things that have been left over from that. And I think the biggest thing is confidence in clients to invest,
Mhm.
because they don't know what's around the corner. The world still has all sorts of interesting things going on in the news, and people can be a bit more reluctant because of those kind of things. So, really having that client confidence that we had maybe pre-COVID is sometimes a challenge that we currently face in the business too.
David, thank you so much for saying that. And this literally takes me to the next question, where we've talked about people being so important to any business. And that could be any sort of business, really. So, what qualities do you look for in employees when you hire them? And how do you foster a positive and a productive work environment?
Okay, so two questions there. So the qualities I'd look for in an employee when we're basically recruiting is two things that I would look to understand as soon as possible. One would be their attitude, try and get a feel for who they are as a person, whether they fit into the team as a personality. And sometimes we need different personalities. It's not all the same people, but
True.
also experience in the role. So being able to have some form of proof or portfolio, especially in the agency life, is really important, or experiences that they can talk about and replicate. And again, this is one thing that I would say for people looking to get into creative industries. Yes, you can have a degree, yes, you can have certain certifications, but really a big part of what we look for is actually experience in a role work. So do things like internships, do things like sample projects, even if you're starting out as a junior, because it will put you a few steps ahead of people that have maybe had the same qualification as you.
And is this your answer for how do you foster positive and productive work environment? Is it through internships and doing something for your people? Is that what you're saying?
So the fostering the productive work environment comes from being very open with the job roles. So
Hmm.
one of the things we do is give progression pathways in the company. We give salary bands, so that it's not this kind of secret, what will I have at my review or not. They know where
Right.
they're going in the company. And we also encourage things like ideas and things to be fed back, so that everyone feels a part of the company and where we're going to.
Hmm.
And they're made aware as well, not just of their own goals and their own performance. Every month we have a team meeting where all employees are made aware of the company's performance and the goals of the company. So everyone is transparent. And I think that that gives a productive work environment, because they all know what they're working towards. And it's positive because we can all have a voice and a change in that. And in
Hmm.
addition to that, each employee is also given every month a one-to-one time with their manager to talk about their role, to talk about things that have happened through the month, and to talk about how they're going through towards their goals for their review, and also things that they might just want to generally speak about. So they also feel like they're listened to, and it's not just once a year that they get this review. So all of these things, I think, foster that productive environment that everyone feels part of.
True. David, thank you so much for answering that in length. Much appreciated. David, we've talked about various aspects about your business. And I would literally want to talk and throw some light about your personal life a bit. So, how do you
Mhm.
balance your personal life with the demands of running a business? How do you strike that perfect balance between the personal and professional life?
Well, that's an area I'm super passionate about. So I'm constantly juggling support family life, so supporting children, my family, but then equally I like to be regular at the gym and keep healthy and happy. So
Wow.
I feel as a business owner that the balance isn't just a nice to have, it's sustainable business. So maybe in the first few years, you see business owners really pushing every last minute,
Yes.
burning the candle at both ends. And yes, sometimes you do have to do that at the start of a business, but you can't have that as a sustainable thing that you need to rely on. So take a step back, be strict with boundaries, business work, give yourself work hours. If you do go over them, then maybe buy out that time from somewhere else. And I find that if I do that, then I'm much more productive in the hours that I am working. So you could spend 4 hours doing something that you could have spent 2 hours just because you're tired and you don't have the energy. And in the end, you lose your ambition and you lose your the right mentality. So if I'm not in a good place physically or mentally, then I'm not going to be a good leader. And that's true. There's no two ways about it. So if I keep myself mentally well, if I keep myself healthy, if I look after myself and still manage my responsibilities outside of work, then when I come to work, I'm a lot more focused and I'm also a lot more productive.
Really like the way that you prioritize your things as well while you're prioritizing your business and your passion. So that's quite inspirational, and I'm sure our audience have learned and picked so many things. Is there any closing remark before we wrap up that you would like to share with the audience, or maybe a golden nugget?
So I would say, you've put me on the spot now, that really the key to any business owner is never stop learning. And it's something that I always abide by. And that's learning as in, academically, if it's the case, but actually, we generally have come from being a single person or a very small group of people starting a business. And we're thrown into an arena where we have to have skills in HR, we have to have finance skills, we have to have design marketing skills, we have to know how to manage people, we have to know how to sell. And we're thrown into that arena, and somehow we succeed through whoever knows how, and we'll always be weaker in some of them, stronger in others, just by the nature of them. But as we grow through the business, give ourselves time to actually go back and improve on those things. Because if we slowly do that, or we get the right people in and we learn from them too, then we actually will make our business a lot richer and we'll make ourselves a lot richer in our mind.
That's a strong, strong line to end the podcast, David. And I quickly say this that I thoroughly enjoyed podcasting with you, and thank you so much for your time today. And
Thank you.
yeah, it was great knowing your journey and to know you and your and the way you work for your business. So thank you so much yet again, and to everyone watching, I look forward to see you in my next episode. Thank you, David.
Take care.